joy as an intentional practice. Now, I can tell you what's worked for me. It's getting up every morning and not reaching immediately for that cell phone or my computer. It's really taking the time to sit in silence, whether that's drinking some tea or coffee, or whether that's taking some time to journal. It's what allows me to quiet the noise. And when you quiet the noise, at least for me, you can hear the voice, your own voice. You can hear the voice of the universe. And in my world, it's the voice of God speaking to you and leading you and guiding you along the journey. It allows you to get clarity because when you have clarity, that's when you get to alignment. Now, what works for me may not necessarily work for you because each one of us is on a specific journey based on our lived experiences. But what I can tell you that if you're intentional about it, you will arrive there at the destination. And where you will arrive is in the strategic joy era. So when you think about being intentional in your practice in the strategic joy journey, it's about making sure that you have different routines and a rhythm to that routine that works for you. Whether it's journaling, whether it's, again, like I said, just sitting in silence. But the most important thing is to be consistent. So when I think about my marathon training schedule, it was that consistency that got me to the start line for my first marathon. And I recall showing up that day feeling fully prepared. But the first 13 miles were full of hills, and I had not expected that. My training in New Orleans was on flat ground. Okay? And so I recall getting to mile 22, and that's pretty much the furthest I had run in my training. And I remember my trainer saying, at this point, your legs will carry you, but it's your mind, your mental capacity that's going to take you to the end. I kept going. I recall getting to mile 25 and realized I was out of steam. The music in my ears just wasn't helping me anymore. And I recall, what is it that I need to do to get to the finish line? Because I knew that Tiffany Jury Medal and those firemen were waiting for me to celebrate with me. As I got halfway through mile 25, I stopped. I had no more. I saw the people on the side cheering, and I looked over to the Pacific Ocean, and I said, if I could just be a whale in the Pacific Ocean and let it float me to wherever I need to go, that's where I want to be right now. And all of a sudden, I realized that I could see the finish line almost down the way. And I don't know what got in me, but I ripped those earphones out of my ear and I began to put one foot in front of the other. And guess what? As the trainer said, I began to talk to myself. It was my voice that was pushing me on. Not just my voice. I felt the voice of the universe and my world God saying, you can do it. You can do it. I got you. And I could not hear the people cheering me on. I could see them, but I couldn't hear them because I was in my head. I was hearing my voice. And you know what? I got to the finish line. And you know why I got there? Because I was able to silence the noise. Because the noise had disrupted my peace. It disrupted my ability to get to the end. Okay? But when I silenced the noise, that's when I achieved my goal. And that's what I'm talking about in this strategic joy journey. Having those rituals that will help you silence the noise so that you can hear your voice. You can hear the voice of the universe just pushing you along in a manner where you can see clarity, because I could see the finish line clear. And my path was adjusted in a way that I could achieve my goal. So that's why rituals, consistency, and a rhythm to your rituals are important. So I told you one of my stories about how I was able to silence the noise. And you have your own stories. And you also create your own rituals and routines that will lead you along this journey to the strategic joy era. So I know I got a little emotional on y'all today, but so I'm gonna have to go dry these tears right now. But guess what? I'm gonna see you in the next episode.